Out loud. We just got back from Unite the Light, and we're going to give you all of our backstage gossip. We also have the Surfer Report. It's now officially the summer of love. Will you get any? And in Shoot the Shift, did you feel a shift with the sun on Jupiter this weekend? We want to know. Welcome to LOL. On our psychic roundtable tonight, our mystical motley crew speaking on behalf of the angels in heaven, angel communicator Devon Duerr, communicating with the dead, psychic medium Scott Cruz, popping out with the power of the occult, tarot master Chris Reck. And I am playing the voice of the planets here, live on the road, folks. I'm in Austin, Texas still, which is one of the big topics we have, wrapping up Unite the Light. I'm psychic astrologer Christopher Witecki. And for those in our live chats, hey, let everyone know your astrology sign and where you're watching from. We do watch the comments and the suggestions, and we incorporate those tips into the show. We appreciate it. Hey, gang, nice to see you again. It's been, 24 hours?
24 hours. Less
than that.
Yeah.
2 hours of sleep over here.
We were out late. We were out late last night.
We were way past my bedtime.
And you all, I have to say, look so much better on camera than you do in person.
Oh, nice. I disagree. I thought everybody looked amazing.
No, we were all glowing. I'm just giving you a shift. So nice to see everyone. Well, let's start. Let's do our, of course, surf report. This is top of the hour, top of the week. We're going into a new week. Energetically, I'll just throw it out there, the football, and let's talk about it. In the big perspective, I think we just hatched a golden egg with this Jupiter, conjunction over the weekend. So for everyone, it's a big deal. Everyone I'm talking to, when I had people come from the show, they're like, I don't want this glow to ever end. Mm-hmm. I want this good feeling I feel to go on forever. That glow, I think, is the energy that now moves into Gemini as of today. And what happens, what I call the summer of love. I predict, this is just my spiritual mechanics here, that this loving feeling of all this Taurus ooey gooey goes into the mind of Gemini. And the Sun and Venus and Mercury are going to all sort of almost be conjunct for nearly 10 days in the first month through the first week of June. All right. So to me, this is going to be us starting to fall in love with an idea really about ourselves. We're falling in love with an idea about ourselves, but it's this, is it possible kind of in our heart, almost like a gay Broadway song when they look to the light.
Scott.
I'm going to hand up to you next, Scott. And I think and what's going to happen is I believe the summer of love. I think we're going to fall in love with an idea then we're going to start ping pong falling in love with each other through the summer. So that's what I feel. Now, being here in it, I am feeling that. I'm still in Austin though. Y'all have returned back, right? But
yeah.
So in this upcoming week, there's going to be a full moon in Sagittarius, and there's going to be this big question. So I think your heart's going to swell up with this idea that you're just in love with, and be careful. It's an idea. Then the full moon in Sagittarius is going to be another Disney song. That's like, do you believe? Like there's this, does your heart really believe and wish upon this star? And then by the end of the week, it's like a yes or no. So it's kind of a dramatic week. Now, I don't know. I'm visioning in Disney terms this week, y'all. So you want to correct me?
Well, the conclusion would be, let it go, right? That'd be the conclusion, because it's all going to be an illusion, right? So, I agree with that too. I mean, seduction. I think when we did the Summer of Love, Christopher and I, when we did that to the 12 signs, a lot, it was about seduction too, prior to the sealing the deal per se. So I think that, a lot of us collectively will be getting that seducing, enticing energy. And then of course we'll go our separate ways of how we deal with that. Of course, everyone else has a different prediction. Watch Summer of Love predictions for your sign. And so, I definitely think that's the case. And it can be a roller coaster event. It could be feeling like you got a taste of something, then it disappears and dissipates. So I definitely feel that up and down in that way if you're not consistent. But, if you like an orgy or two, then you might be pretty good.
Yeah. I'm all for it.
Speaking about,
Speaking of orgies.
Broadway
it's going to
theater.
be a word orgy, if nothing else, with Jupiter and Gemini.
Exactly. So it's going to be very kind of chaotic in that sense, I feel like.
All right. Reck, you want to?
Yeah, I feel that, and especially this week too, I'm getting something about secrets here and needing to kind of look into things that you think are secretive. I'm pretty sure I was like a gold miner in a past life. I'm obsessed with gold, right? And I'm looking at this Knight of Swords here, and I just feel like he's going over gold in my head right now. And when you're mining for gold, the gold falls into cracks in the ground, so most people scrape off the top. And they miss all this gold when they're mining for gold that's in the bedrock, right? And so I don't know why. That's what's popping into my head with this. That don't just skim over these new ideas or new things that you're thinking about or coming up with at this time. I think that people need to look into the secrets, look into the mysteries, even the occult, or use occult kind of methodology to kind of get into those cracks of whatever they're thinking about working on. Three of Wands is, what are you waiting for? And I feel, what are you waiting for energy? So it's like there's nothing to wait for. Don't skim over those pockets of gold that are in your life, right? That's what I feel.
Ooh, that actually just helped me.
Oh, thanks.
Wow.
Wow.
Something. I think I might be overlooking gold. We'll see.
Well, it's interesting you both mentioned gold, Christopher. You mentioned the golden egg we just hatched, right? And then he's talking about mining gold, because when I was looking at the energy for this week, I kept hearing the keyword patience. And when you've hatched an egg, you have to have a lot of patience for it to hatch, right? For it to hatch in a healthy way. If you're mining for gold, that takes a lot of patience as well. So I do feel like, yes, we're feeling like we did this. We planted these seeds, but it's going to be really important that we're taking a lot of extra time to care for ourselves through this patience. So I like what Chris Reck just said about looking into the occult, use this time to go within and see what else is going on. And also, we are going to see some of these relationships going to a new level that we've been working on, whether it's through career or through a romantic one. But again, they're going to be feeling these energies too. So we need to have patience with the other person or the other project or whatever is going on there. So I agree with you. We need to use our magical powers that we all have here to take advantage of this.
I sort of feel, and I talked about this at Unite the Light, we'll be talking about this, that, a lot of people on Earth had two major agendas in this lifetime. The first was to heal yourself. And so there's a whole group of relationships and soul paths that you had regarding healing yourself, like literally the ex that betrayed you and, the literal characters that caused harm. And I feel like with Neptune and Saturn and Pisces, we've come to this point now where we're over the crest of that. And so we've done most of the healing, which means we now turn to the second block that we have sort of sorted out. And I think these are incredible connection possibilities, where everything so far in our life has been based on our wounds, our flaws, our obsessions, all the darker stuff. I kind of feel like we saved our dessert for last. I feel like, and the light workers in particular did their work in their light, and that they have equal light worker, Gemini twins, equal light worker that think alike, Gemini twins, and speak alike. So I feel like we're now going to start to find some amazing, connections. And I think that's what Unite the Light was, by the way. I think that was the beginning of oh, cool, we're all free from our chains. We're all free from some of the stuff that has been holding us down from the beginning. Let's play, kind of thing. So Jupiter and Gemini to me is all these connections starting to happen that suddenly weren't.
Yeah, but also I also feel like too, it's we're healing the self, but we also have to make sure we're not the ones causing pain too.
Right.
Because a lot of times what people are doing is they're healing themselves. They become so self-absorbed in the process, they don't realize they're the one ghosting or they're the one that's, causing some chaos. So it's important to this time we self-reflect that we're not the ones causing harm, because we have a lot of times people saying, oh, the narcissist. I'm like, well, actually, you haven't gotten the point. So you're the one of the narcissist that's not getting the point, that needs all that validation. So we need to look within and make sure we're not the ones creating the chaos too.
I love that you brought that up, Scott, because the angels were also talking about competing goals with others. And so not only having patience, but understanding that we might just have a different agenda than someone, and we might have to deal with that. It's it's annoying to know that, okay, I finally, have this golden egg that I'm protecting. I'm so excited to launch it, but now I got to go, answer all those emails, or I've got to go deal with this kid project or whatever it is. Right. And we don't want to take that out on those around us. So I'm really glad you brought that up, because it can be you can have the greatest intentions for what you're producing, but you don't realize how you're affecting others.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I feel for light workers, and we're getting into our next topic a little early, but the energy is here because this energy really is about stepping into that next version of yourself. I think the next mindset of ourself, like these first degrees of Geminis, like thinking of ourselves differently. And I think for light workers, Scott, like that's part of the light worker or even person light walker, someone who just walks in the light. Like I think that's one of the things you end up facing is, coming into your light, not accidentally, stepping on someone else. Also, I find a lot of light workers honestly are really awkward and clumsy with power.
Yeah. Yes.
And don't understand how to gracefully stand in their power. It's like they some of them just sort of go overboard the first time they get a little piece of authority.
They're like, look what I can do. Look what I can do. They get so wrapped up in what they can do, not what needs to be done, and I agree with that. I agree with that completely.
There's a lot of awakening. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I actually think, for us going forward, it's all about coming into power with grace. I mean, I didn't talk about this in Unite the Light, but it's stuff I was thinking about. I was like, it's now time to come into power with grace. Let's not like repeat the same things that happened when others came into power in past cycles where there was people taking advantage and, but also let's not go so far that we lose freedom and creativity of expression of ourselves, like to where we're so regulated, have so many freaking rules. We're like pilgrims. I think it's a lot to talk about it. Energetically, it was an exciting time at Unite the Light. And I don't know if we actually told everyone what we were talking about, what exactly it was, but we just spent a weekend having a little group get together with people who follow this show, follow Serious Joy, follow Reck, follow Scott and Devon, all in sort of one room. And for 2 days, just talked about how to unite the light, how to bring people together. And how to stand in our heart and move forward. And I think everyone watching here, so how does this relate to the viewer? I actually think if you watch us, you must be someone who's in the light and cares.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
No doubt.
You would not be interested in this. Exactly. I think we're losing viewers right now. Oh.
No.
There's that dip.
Yeah.
But before we go on to that next topic, let's dive a little bit deeper for what's going to come up for the, for the individual in this upcoming week. And I'll start astrologically. So for the individual astrologically, I believe you will feel your gold. So to kind of play back to Chris and everyone, like there is gold, underneath our feet. And now it's time to think of ourselves differently. And this full moon, which apex is, by the way, on Thursday. So between now and we get to see you next time, is an invitation. It's kind of a grandmaster full moon at 3 degrees. It's an invitation to believe something different about yourself. And that invitation to believe different about yourself is the door out of whatever narrative you're in, by the way. So whatever that happens to be, that is the door out as far as, how do I get out of this abusive relationship with a narcissist? As Scott was saying, it seems like we get a door out of that this week. So what do each of you pick up for the individual this week? For me, it's about finding the right mindset, the right way to think about yourself. How about you all?
Mine is kind of revealing the dark side of the self.
Seems like it today.
Yeah, apparently.
We're all in black, guys. Come on. And this is not necessarily a bad thing. I think that, what you lack in what you're expressing your power, you gain more of. And so I think when you start realizing that dark side that has been kind of like dominating for a while, and you're able to split the two, into a dichotomy of self, and you start observing, this is what's been holding me back. This is my limitations. Here's my gold. This is the gold that's within my soul, within me, that I haven't been utilizing. It's been there all along. I've been digging my whole life, but I've been kind of overshadowed by my own shadow. And so I think this time is really seeing that dark side, calling it out for what it is, and pushing it off. And so that leads us to really find the nuggets. And I always love to say the nuggets of lessons in ourselves. I always love that term too, that we find the nugget within that's really kind of thriving us and what our true goals and missions really are. So to me, this week is really about uncovering the dark side. But of course, how do you see the light side without uncovering the dark side? And so, I'm all about the dark, right? Chris, what does he cult say about the darkness?
I'm getting something here about luxury, strangely enough. 10 of Wands, 4 of Cups. They don't have anything to do with luxury, but I think people need to take extra care of themselves this week. Do something nice for yourself and put yourself into like a luxury, some sort of take care of yourself. Do something nice for yourself this week. Buy yourself something nice. I don't know why it's popping into my head as being important, but maybe it's all the Venus energy or, whatever. But I think that, do something that you've never done for yourself as well, especially with the 4 of Cups. Sometimes I think it's like super important that if you have one of those, even if you've always wanted to go to Disney, I think I said this last week, then maybe you need to like set a goal to actually make that happen, even if you've never made it happen. So that's kind of what I'm getting from the cards.
I love that.
Yeah, I do too. And I think that really helps with the key word of this week they showed me, which was patience, because when you are doing things for yourself, it helps you settle into that energy. In fact, I was going to offer an affirmation if you want to put in the comments in the live chat here or below this video later to help you with this energy. I easily recognize divine timing. So when they're asking us to have patience, that means you have to be willing to be open and aware to that. So I love that, Chris, Reck, about the idea of doing something really nice and luxurious for yourself where you don't really care what else is going on out there because you're doing something so nice for yourself. You're completely willing to wait for that divine timings. If you want to put that in the comments, we love seeing you guys connect with that way, and it will help you with releasing any frustrations over conflicts or having to deal with something, or like you were saying, Scott, just that power play that we see with like young light workers or people not really, Christopher, you were saying that you're not really knowing how to deal with their power. I think we're going to require a little patience there for that. So, but do something nice to yourself. I love that, Chris.
IERDT. I easily recognize divine timing, y'all.
Yeah, I like that.
IERDT.
We could just make it an acronym from now on. Turn it into a song, Scott. We need another song.
No, you just turn it into a t-shirt. Turn it into a t-shirt.
Oh, I like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
All right. So good advice moving forward. And the full moon in Sagittarius, I think, by the way, is at 2 degrees. So it will be you're going to be emotionally getting over yourself, but releasing the dark side of the moon, apparently, according to Scott, but finding treasure, according to Chris, but being patient as hell, according to Devon.
Yes.
All right.
That's a perfect recipe.
Perfect. Yeah.
I do listen. All right. So we're going to move on now to Unite the Light. We wanted to have some time just to shoot the shift here. I think we're all kind of coming into our own energies here in front of you too. We all traveled literally today, and I'm still in transit.
Yep.
As I mentioned, Unite the Light was the first annual Lightworker sort of summit where we were coming together as Lightworkers with other people on stage. We did a show and tell on Saturday where people presented just messages they had for the industry, like, hey, industry, I think we need to know this. And by the way, look what I did. So there was a little bit of that too, which is just to be able to innovate and inspire each other. Then we had a great gala dinner Saturday night. And then Sunday we had panel discussions, and all of us participated in this one way or another. So I found it to be, and I guess I'll just start the discussion. I mean, overall, it was a crazy energetic weekend too. So there's two things to unpack here. One was we had the sun on Jupiter and Venus on Uranus, then the sun sextiling Neptune. In simple terms, that is extremely high vibrational energy. The sun multiplying Jupiter, these are the two most powerful agents of our consciousness, come crashing together at 28 Taurus. And 28 Taurus is the highest grandmaster of Taurus. So it's sort of like it is so, like Gandalf kind of wand on the ground and like vibrations. And it is kind of one of the most intense astrological transits. And then Venus on Uranus was like taking a toke off of some pipe somewhere energy, kind of like the caterpillar or whatever that character was in Alice in Wonderland, that guy. Like there was something so psychedelic in that too. So to me, being around all of you for the first time ever in person, was there was so many layers of sort of psychedelic for me. I was sort of just a participant for the weekend, and I wasn't 100% sure. And I'm wanting to know from the audience, did you feel this too? Okay. That's our question we're throwing out there. Did you feel this too? I felt out of this world. I'm still kind of in that bubble, and I don't know if it was because of Scott's cologne or the planets.
I meant to ask him what he was wearing too.
And it wasn't even mine. It was Eric's. So
I
just
there you
give me a spritz. I don't want to smell like hotel.
You smell great.
From afar. Scott went in the room. So what are we concurring on? Are we concurring?
So the question was the weekend's energy.
The weekend's energy was, I think it was, everyone's always going to have a different, feeling of the energy. So I just think the intensity could differentiate for many people. I've noticed a lot of people for this conference who had abandonment issues, feeling this warm energy around them, made them behave differently, made them kind of feel a little more vulnerable and shed some more tears. I've noticed people who've been taking so much responsibility for others healers being kind of, paranoid. They have no one to take responsibility for this weekend. So it's been like a big reveal to those who've been, I would say used to the dark side again, used to their crutches, and they didn't have their crutches. And so they were starting to feel very uncomfortable, but it was also nice to see the healing process through the weekend and how they came out more, I would say, relieved and lighter. So I've witnessed that to a lot of different dynamics with a lot of different people and what they were going through. It was very interesting to see that.
Well, that's interesting. The comments you had. I mean, I hugged everyone. I saw the same. I just want to affirm, like I saw a lot of people recognizing it was time to put some sort of narrative down.
Mm-hmm.
And also people were so happy. People said it was the best event they'd ever been to. Yeah. Honestly, the responses and actions of the energy, we did these activities in between speakers. People were so aware, awake, excited. I've been to events where I'm just like, okay, let's go do the thing.
Me too.
People were just high energy the whole time. Yeah. And the whole time I'm thinking to myself, was it the sun and Jupiter? Or was it us bouncing off each other? It's probably all. It was a great concoction.
I think it's all of that. I mean, I have to say, to put us on a pedestal, we served. we served.
Hallelujah. Yeah.
And they were bouncing, they were hitting back. The crowd was hitting back, and they were very hungry and very appreciative of what we all delivered. And so I think it was a wonderful matching experience.
So let's talk about what each of us shared a little bit with the public, in our presentations. Maybe Devon.
Yeah.
Devon had a great talk on Sunday.
Oh, thank you. Well, I just want to first of all say such a huge thank you to everybody who took the time and resources to get there. Even if you were live streaming, we could feel you. And one of the things the angels were telling me too with this Sun Jupiter conjunction was that was actually part of the inaugural event. It was always meant to be drawing us all together. So the fact that you're here watching this now, that's part of this inaugural energy. So even if you weren't able to attend, the angels want you to know you're part of this energy now. And that was a big part of the thing I was talking about was we are here to lift each other up and co-create. We are not doing this anymore where we're competing with other light workers because you all have an audience. So that was my main message to get across is it doesn't matter if you're the PTA member or you're the person who's always been a psychic intuitive from age 2. We all have to lift each other up. And I just saw so many amazing souls doing that for each other here. It was just amazing to just stand back and watch everybody work together. I also loved watching the three of you. Oh my gosh, was it cool to not only meet you in person, but then to listen to each of you just give so much amazing advice. Christopher, I thought I was watching a stand-up comedian up there when you opened the show. I mean, we were all just bent over laughing. You were so funny, but then you were bringing in light work and astrology and you just kicked it off so amazing. And then Scott brought in his amazing energy, teaching everybody about what they're dealing with. And actually, I'm hoping you're going to comment on this when we get to you, Scott, about ghosts are not stuck in your house. Like everybody was just riveted when you were talking about that. And then Reck brought his amazing expertise with YouTube and analytics and AI and just, hey, you're not copying if it's your idea, but you can use the AI to help you with your idea. That was such a, I think, freeing moment there too. What about you guys? Who wants to go next?
Chris?
Scott, you want to talk about ghosts?
Well, share something what you shared, like something you had to be there to know.
Yeah, I mean, my presentation is called Evolving the Craft, and I thought that we have a lot of light workers or people who are being inspired to do light working energy, and how we have to be knowledgeable about every dynamic of our spaces, and we have to be knowledgeable about every different aspect of spirituality, because to be spiritual, you have to understand spirit in totality. So I share different modalities that psychics, mediums are becoming the new therapists now, and healers, and are becoming the new, I would say, health advisors, and so that requires a great deal of responsibility. It's to be able to be knowledgeable about these spaces. And so, especially I was getting to about how we can, as empaths, not be a sponge and setting boundaries in our lives. And so, and a lot of people were very in tune to that, because there's a lot of empaths watching, a lot of empaths that are starting to do light work, but all they know is feeling. All I know is how to feel people's emotions and to absorb it, but not really learning how to be a channel. So I was very much a big advocate about saying we do need to have a little bit of our ego. Our ego is important for us to thrive, for us to stand and set those boundaries so we can do those wonderful works and so forth. So I was big on helping light workers be light workers. Those who are, like Christopher said, working in the light or walking in the light. It's all helpful information. And whether it be through tech, whether it be, whatever communication methods that you're using, it's all important. So, and every different reflection of spirituality is necessary for us to expand upon and to develop. And I think the more we know, the more we can help. The more we can help, the greater power we can actually expand within our species. And so, yes, I think knowledge is key to the in totality of when it comes to spirituality and involving such. So that was my little spiel. And trying to tell Aquarius to summarize is like, come on. That's a project.
That's a project.
Yeah, considering the whole universe and all. Yeah, for sure.
Where'd
Chris,
I go?
that was it. That was a deep summary of everything. I mean, I think for me, probably the key point I was trying to hit home was that it was time to manifest, and really speaking about manifestation comes down to our values, and we're in a place where we have to manifest those values that we want in the future. So, my message was let's manifest let's co-create, let's manifest some values together. Let's use some of our magic in a direction that is going to come together and help each other. Because I feel like the investment that we need is each other, basically, that we're looking for, which I think this show is a perfect example. So, and I will say, and I'll hand off to Chris real quick. The people, to me, felt like that they were getting some sort of a cue that it was time.
Exactly.
That it was time. There was a universal, it's time. For what? We don't know. But we know it's time. And we were all looking for our checkbook or something like, so that was a very strong positive. And I think also universally too, just to throw out there, like amongst a lot of psychics and empaths, no one can really feel and see what's going to happen with the president. Like I wasn't getting a psychic consensus on who's going to be president. I wasn't getting a psychic consensus on, World Economic Forum sort of stuff. I was using my superpowers also to sort of feel where things are going, because at the end of the day, I think what was coming together is we did sort of universally agree there's going to be some headwinds coming in, probably some trade winds, and to be prepared to check in with each other at that time. So, Scott, what were you teaching overall?
Chris.
A lot of insight.
I was also saying too, like,
Chris Reck, actually.
Scott.
I don't know why. I keep calling you Scott. I don't know why I'm in this. I really meant Chris.
I'm Chris Cruz.
Chris and the Dent Makers. Sorry.
I just want to add to that really quickly before, because I think you were feeling my vibe. Because I did want to say an important message I was saying was that everyone thinks they need to fix themselves, that you're not broken. That was another thing we were saying. You're not broken. You're expanding. I just want to throw that out there. That was a very important message people loved in the audience, that we're saying that you're not broken. You don't need to be fixed. You're expanding. Allow yourself to see yourself like a child riding a bike. You're not stupid because you fell down. You're expanding. Chris?
Yeah, no, I'd like to touch on that real quick before I do my thing too, because one thing that really stood out to me is I felt like everyone I talked to, they were having like a reality check, like this, call from the universe to do something. I talked to so many people that were like leaving jobs, switching jobs, getting fired from jobs, but they were all like okay with it, which was really weird to me in a certain way, where they were all kind of like, oh, it doesn't matter that I don't know what I'm going to do next or whatever, but I know I'm going to do something. And, that really stood out to me the most from the whole entire
saw that
event.
too. Yeah. Great point.
Actually, there was a lot of that. I mean, now as the astrologer, I'm just like, but of course, I predicted all of this. So for me, there's like a very loving the data. But, it affirmed what I felt all along. Or I'm just writing my own timeline so well.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That could be it.
I mean, that's kind of I'm not sure. I don't know. This is something, this is just momentary, but it's like, am I just getting really good at writing my own matrix? Because it's all starting to really theme well.
Yeah.
Like it's falling in. Like I'm walking outside, coffee cup is there. I'm walking outside, hello, how are you? Oh, your room is ready. Ding, there's the toast. Like everything's just like
you're just realizing more of yourselves. I always say realization is manifestation. When you realize what the sole purpose is, it happens. Things just fall in line. I really think we've predetermined a lot too. Not everything, but I think we predetermined a lot. That's why we're able to measure things through astrology. How the hell can we predict things if it wasn't written out? How can you say, oh, this will be here, this is going to happen, or I can make a prediction if it wasn't pre-written? So not everything, but a lot of our map has been predetermined. We know that. We have a theme. I mean, you see all the time, Christopher, I didn't sign up for Armageddon. You knew you signed up for something. And so sometimes we need to keep revealing and realizing what we signed up for. And that's when the manifestation happens seamlessly, So
there's definitely some hands on the controls. I mean,
of course.
And I actually think to some degree, once Jupiter's in Gemini this summer, in the summer of love, we're going to start seeing ideas manifest almost instantly.
Yes,
like communications, bumper stickers. I think we're going to start to see.
But you said before, Christopher, one time you tried controlling and it was going in the wrong direction. God knocked you back on the track, right?
I mean, if that happens, absolutely, I do get knocked back on the track for sure. I mean, there's definitely some predestined, and there's also definitely some ability to control the ride.
100%.
I agree. Yeah, but I think we stole the football from Reck.
Oh, it's fine. I sidetracked that conversation, but so. My presentation was how to make your dent on social media in 3 steps or less. And so, I had a major realization when I was on stage too, that, I think really what it was about is that, I collect a lot of structures for how to make things work. That's how I produce so much content. And so, that's really what I was sharing was all my content structures, the ways that I come up with content for all my channels and things like that as well. And, so, I think that it actually made me change some things that I'm doing as well. Cause I was like, oh, I need to focus more on presenting this as structure. I've been presenting it as other things for a very long period of time. So that's what I talked about. I talked about building a knowledge base. Everybody should start taking notes because, the whole point of my presentation as well is the number one most profitable thing I do. I say this all the time is I learn one new thing every single day. I take a note on it, and then I take a second note on it when I actually implement what I learned. And, I call it building a knowledge base. And so it's kind of like the experience of whatever I learned, and I collect that information so I can share it later, or it just helps me in life in some way.
You also brought up pillars. You care to go deeper into that?
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of pillars for creating content. So pillars are like the idea, your main idea for your content, and we have videos that go under each pillar. And so I've been trying to get people to branch out, expand their pillars, because right now, especially for spiritual people, we kind of get locked into these. If you have a spiritual YouTube channel, you're locked into tarot or angels or or whatever. And so if we branch out those pillars, we can reach a wider audience. So if you do tarot, you should also maybe have a pillar talking about astrology and angels and also mediumship, so that we can kind of build broader audiences. I think now is the time for spiritual people to build those audiences, like I said in my presentation. So, I think everybody needs to get moving.
Definitely.
Sounds very similar to my message. Seemed like we were very in sync there, Chris.
We are.
I love it. I love that.
Oh, Aqua.
Yeah.
I feel, Mike, the keynote that I started with was really, the idea was that Pluto's in Aquarius. And so I feel like the lightwork industry is going to explode over the next 24 years. I feel like there's going to be charlatans and good. I think that if you are a player in the beginning, you could be the Google of something in that sense, because there's something to be said. And I just got to say, it's a savvy of a lot of things. It's not just the knowledge. It's being relatable. It's being fun. It's being, it's being persistent. It's being bulletproof to people's criticism. Like, honestly, if you really want to make an impact on the world, you have to be very limber and very quick and very flexible to work with what's coming at you, but stay true to who you are. Right. So, if you got it in you, the universe is now hiring.
Right. That's true.
No doubt.
Yeah. Interesting enough. What are you laughing at?
You said limber. And so that got off.
He was laughing at the thumb, weren't you, Scott?
The thumb came up, and it's just the timing was good.
That was my screen with a thumb on it.
Yeah, that thumb was not limber.
No.
Yeah,
you didn't see it.
Yeah.
So, besides us up there, what did you guys like about the show? Were there any other speakers you were drawn to or messages you were drawn to?
Robbie is a powerhouse.
Oh man,
Tell me,
isn't she?
Aqua, preaching to the aquas. All right, tell us why.
Taking us out of the spiritual closet.
Well, but I just think I really think, I mean, she's an aqua, actually.
Yeah.
And
yes, I know. She's another grandmaster. She's the next grandmaster. She's a 22 grandmaster. You're a 13 grandmaster.
13. So, but that's why I liked it. There's no other reason other than that. Okay.
It's just,
no, I just think she speaks with conviction. And I think that, she really has a lot more and it's so much the power that I like that's behind what she talks about, what she says, and that she's very convicted. And it feels like it's coming from generations of incarnations of knowledge, and so, and the ease that she has with that. And so it's more about the essence about what I've taken away from her about the power, with her. She impressed me, just even person to person. She impressed me.
Oh yeah, she's so phenomenal. Yeah, and I was really struck by Brittany Carmichael's message about doing all the things. Like don't put yourself in a tunnel, because that's one of my messages too. It's like your spiritual team's not going to let you get off your path, but you have to keep going down the path to get there. So it's like, think of it as your team is your bumper rails. When you're going down the bowling alley, you're the bowling ball. But if you come to a stop, then you're going to feel blocked. So you just it's okay if you go off and, take a Reiki class for a year and then decide you don't want to do it because all of a sudden now you really want to study human design. You're still on the right path. So I loved all her messaging there. It's very empowering.
Yeah. Brittany's a rock star in her own right. And I was just going to say too, and we'll move on here in a moment, but I think, excuse me, choking me up here. I feel, and this was going to say before, but I was going to save it for the actual show. I feel after getting together with y'all that we can't wait for a full year to get together again.
No,
I can't wait.
I want to have a little bit more relaxation too and whatnot. So I feel like we should actually go and go on a vacation together, to some sort of spooky, sort of Scooby-Doo sort of spot where we all go and we sort of shoot stuff. Cause we did some shooting while we were there or whatever, but something where we can sort of debunk, not Area 51. We want to definitely be able to get there, but
Doll Island. That's what we should do.
What?
Doll Island.
What is Doll Island?
It's an island where a guy, he rescued a drowning girl and he put thousands of dolls all over this island, and you can go there and apparently it's haunted and the dolls move.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, have fun on that remote, Chris.
Come on. No one will go with me. Yeah, we should do a Ghost Hunters episode there. That's what I want to do.
Okay, that's a good one. Any other suggestions?
That's it.
I definitely like the idea of relaxing and getting to just chill, and also, like we said, for the energy of the week, do something nice to yourself, make it luxurious, and enjoy each other's company, and a lot more time to mingle. I love that. Yeah,
of course, said the Cancer wants to relax. I mean,
I'm going to
go to a Doll Island. Scott, let me guess. It involves some sort of an anal probe. We're talking about UFOs, of course.
Where to go from here? No, I actually think I think the ghost hunting thing it's cliche for spiritual things. That might be kind of cool. Maybe the audience can tell us. At some point they can say, "Hey guys, go here." Maybe we should get suggestions, and they can tell us where to go, and they can create the map for us.
Can we go? Yeah, somewhere by the ocean, says the Cancer sun sign.
Okay. All right. Well, let's. We like to hear in the audience where you think we should go. What would you like us to all use our superpowers on? Some mystery in the world, something. It'd be interesting.
Is this a good time to bring up the whole high vibe hangover thing, though? Because this is why. I mean.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah?
I mean, that sounds like you're acting. That seems like you're exhibiting a symptom right now.
No. Well, we're all saying we don't want to wait a year to get together because it was so fun.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Good segue.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
and no, it wasn't a judgment on anybody, but it was just the idea that if this was your first time going to this kind of event, you might not be aware that it was so high vibe that you are going to feel an energetic shift when you get home. Even all of us who have done this many, many times, we recognize it, feel that after show shift in the energy. And I've seen with a lot of clients that they automatically blame the environment they're going back to for the shift. And it could be that the reason they went to this event was to recognize that they were not in the best energetic situation. But a lot of times it's just the shift, and the things that normally you could have handled feel extra. Like I remember one time having a retreat for a week in Sedona. And when I came back, anybody talking politics felt like hearing somebody scrape their fingernails across a chalkboard. It didn't matter whether I agree with them or not. I just couldn't listen to that kind of conversation coming out of that energy. So I wanted to hear from each of you if you've experienced that, and just let the audience know whether you're watching, whatever event you've gone to, if you felt that shift. Don't automatically assume that it's your partner's fault or it's your job's fault, or blame yourself for being in that situation.
It's funny you said that, because I was literally talking to a friend of mine like after I got back home about that very thing. Because I was feeling that too. I was just like, I'm like, I love my home, but like I don't want to be here right now. And it's like it's just the energies, the high. It was hard letting go, saying, because it was so short. It was like boom and intense up, and then it's like I gotta go. So you got to kind of fluff yourself down at those events. And that happens to me a lot, because I usually, when I go to some, I really engage with it. And so I have to understand it's just a dopamine drop, and so you have to soothe yourself out, allow yourself to embrace the moment. I cried today. So it's just normal. It's natural, but I was crying, and they telling my mom about it. I was crying. I was just like, but it was just the fact that I want to duplicate that more in my life, saying everything else. I love my life where it's at. I'm like, okay, I just need more of this. And it was also appreciation and celebration that I've actually was able to experience that. You know what I'm saying? It's like my life is growing. My life is expanding because I reached a pinnacle of something I haven't reached before. So I think if we look at it in that context, we'll understand that kind of roller coaster, but, look excited for doing more and just realize, oh, that's where I should be going. It's direction to me. So I think
like you said celebration, celebrate that we were able to get to that level. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. But yeah, I was like teary-eyed, crying all day today. And it's like, but I realized that it was a breakthrough for me too, and also witnessing the different relationships with us, in person, and how true and real that is. It's like, I just want more.
Yes, more.
Yeah. I think we can have more, though. I mean, to me, it was like a mirror, it's like saying, I looked at it, big magnifying glass mirror thing, where it's like, there's so many things. Like normally I just hide because I'm a Pisces, right? So I don't even like to socialize and all this other stuff. But I had so much fun socializing with everybody and hanging out. I was there for most of the whole show. Like I didn't even hide in my room. So the way I see it, I'm like, I see those moments where it's like magnified feelings or whatever, as like, okay, then what happened there? What can I bring back to my life? What do I need to add in? So I kind of see it as like, oh, I need to socialize more, because obviously that's why I had such a good time. It's because I was socializing. And, that was what was magnified for me.
And you seem different too. Like you seem more relaxed too.
Oh,
like
good.
You seem like
I've been feeling weirdly. I have for some weird reason, I have a lot of stress right now, but stress really relaxes me. It really calms me down. So I think when I have a ton of stuff to do, it just calms me down for whatever
That's your
reason.
dark side.
Yeah, that's my dark side. Right.
More of the dark.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chris is a shapeshifter. A little bit, like he energetically looks a little different in person, different times. Like you have, and his eyes are, you have like interesting eyes. There's some magic
change colors. Yeah.
Yeah. There's some interesting magic chameleon stuff going on there.
Cool Pisces eyes. Yes.
Yeah. It pulls you in. You're just like, you get sort of, I feel, overall, I was saying to someone, first of all, the whole point of this actually was a little bit of magic. So I knew that you get all these people together in a room with a little intention. This is honestly some old school magic, not in a creepy way, but overall, I knew that if everyone came there with those planets and their heart wished for a better life, like it would sort of snowball and it would happen. But I also feel like we're getting a taste of the fifth dimension. I think we're getting a taste of 5D.
Right.
I personally think 5D is, I love myself. I love my life. I love him. I love Scott. I love all of it. Like, we're all in a state of love, just loving ourselves, everyone, and not feeling any judgment, worry that we could talk about our past lives or some crazy kooky story, and have not even a beat of an eye that someone would judge us. So that love to me is what we came to create on Earth, that feeling. Yeah. I mean, honestly, not to brand here, but that's what we mean by serious joy. Like that's what we mean. So for us as a company, we are so excited because we did create serious joy, which to me is a vibration everyone is aiming for, and you can call it all sorts of things. But I feel like the idea of uniting the light is it's now time to carry that light of joy out into the world. But I also feel like we have to come back and we have to continue to recharge with each other, our little lightning bugs. I mean, for me, I want to have fun now. I've been working my whole life. So I'm at a point where I would just like the rest of my life to be a party.
Well, and another beautiful divine flow thing of this was Christopher and I started working on this. What was that, back in October?
Yeah.
It was the eclipse in October. We started really getting, and then we brought everybody in, started talking about things just started showing up for us to bring this together in a way that was so divine
Yep.
Yeah, we're truly like creating this new age in Aquarius way of putting these events on is you just allow. All you do is agree that the souls that are meant to be there will be there, and then everything that's needed showed up. And that I'm even getting angel bumps as we talk. It truly was that way. We knew it was going to be good, but it was better than we could have imagined.
But there's so many people. I talked to so many people, so many different ideologies. Like I talked to one girl, she was a psychic Christian, and other people in science. And there's just so many different ideologies that we were just coming together and accepting our perspectives on things and saying, like, I can learn from this, I can learn from that. That was so beautiful to me, was that, because we're just like, oh no, you have to believe this ideology, this is how we do it, this is the format. It's like, no, we're all saying, oh, there's so many different ways we go about it, but we're getting the same results. Awesome. That was another thing I think that was helpful to people who were coming there as audience members, to see like, oh, there's so many different things I can do, not just that one thing, and they can find one that relates to them the best. And so that was another beautiful collaboration that I saw.
Yeah, I do feel it's time to come together as a community. I do feel, I've gone to like Coachella, and I've gone to part of the rave cultures. I mean, I've gone to moments where humans are kind of celebrating. Yeah.
Heard something else.
And there's this great peace, love, unity, respect. There's this feeling of plur. There's this feeling of, there's this feeling of the age of Aquarius, I think is what it is. So I feel like we're sparking that feeling. I missed the dirty joke, but
you said rave culture. I'm like, what? And I think you said something else.
Rave culture. I have no idea. You have to tell me. My mind is
with the P. With the P. Now I don't want to say the word because I don't want to get demonetized.
Okay. All right. So I think that wraps up beautifully. You all can see everything we talked about. There's so much. We shot this professionally. The group there is amazing.
Oh, it was beautiful.
He already said they would follow us on our trip that we take together, so we could actually have them on our trip.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yes, I love that. So, they were amazing.
So we have the crew and everything. We have a lot of behind the scenes stuff that we're going to be posting to Instagram and to, LOL's social media. Unite the Light will have social media. But we also have full access to everything, including backstage interviews that was not part of, obviously, the audience there did not get to have, that we had with our streaming ticket sales. So you can still purchase a ticket, by the way, and look at it and watch this after the event. It will grant you access to a special social network that we are keeping just for Unite the Light. So, so going forward, we're going to maybe have lectures, y'all, or maybe do some teachings. Maybe you can teach a class in there, but being able to stay in touch and sort of create this global community of people who are light workers or light walkers. And honestly, we sort of made this benchmark of entry. You got to buy a ticket to Unite the Light to get into this little community. Like you got to take one step in our direction, basically, is how it works. And we will take many steps in yours. So that's at unitethelight.love to get your streaming ticket. But now it's going to be a residual ticket. And we will all meet you and create your profiles, you all, in this social network so we can kind of present what we're doing, what our businesses are, and start to unite and network with each other. All right. That was our infomercial. What was the term we used, Chris?
Advertorial. That's what we call it.
That was our advertorial.
Yeah.
Next, I think we're going to skip the AI because we filled it with other stuff.
Yeah.
And jump straight to our shoot the shift. We are curious, first of all, and I have a psychic roulette to wrap up the show, by the way. I am curious in the chat. So shoot the shift, if y'all don't know, is where we just start shooting the shift with what you are typing in the comments. So what you're typing in the comments and in the chat, particularly the chat, we'll start to respond to. So if you have a question or something you want to talk about, we do want to know, did you feel something astrological this weekend? We were there surrounded by love walkers, so we're not quite sure if it was the people or the planets. Did you at home experience anything psychedelic over this last weekend? That's the question.
Yeah, and while we're waiting,
what's so funny?
What's the comment? Devon, how do you manage to look so fresh as a daisy already? And like you just got back from vacation to Bora Bora for a month.
And it's a guy named Eric. So yeah.
I wonder who that is.
I wonder who that is.
Well, and I didn't have to fly either. I got to drive home this morning and have a nice lunch.
Lucky.
Oh, that's why. Okay.
Yeah. But I am tired. I will be sleeping well in my own bed tonight. And I saw Sydney Aaron commented about the shift is real after these things. So while we're waiting for people to put their answers to your question, Christopher, I did see a lot of people already saying they were feeling the same things we were talking about after the fact. It's like, we need to celebrate this, but you can't help but notice there's a little bit of like, I call it a withdrawal. Like it's a withdrawal from everybody's light here, you know? So yeah.
I'm going to just keep, I don't know, finding new fixes. I'm going to keep in this
Reck
joy.
said, do something nice for yourself, you know?
Do something nice for yourself.
Yeah. Do that this week.
Oh, I totally am. Yeah. Even now.
All right. We got some comments coming in here.
Not really, but I did have residual itch from medication that I had to take, dizziness.
Oh, no.
Maybe that's not the one we want to take.
Okay, so here you go, Scott, since you opened up this Pandora box of shadow.
Okay, let's see.
Planets Pixels writes, can you all give an example, we'll let Scott do it, of when you worked through these exact same so-called shadows that you were telling others to get through? I'm reading this, by the way, in our private chat.
Oh, got it.
By the way, we're all being fed this intelligence.
I'm looking at the comments, and I'm like, I don't see that comment anywhere.
Me neither.
When you were the same exact shadows that you're attempting to get. Okay, my shadows
by our amazing crew.
That's a good one from Planet Pixels. Okay, that was a commenter. Got it. I'm lost. I'm found now.
Okay.
You know, that was a great stuttering effect. I think that when we look at the shadows and we stop disassociating ourselves from the shadows, then we can actually look at that and heal the shadow. Because I talked about Unite the Light too, about the ego. People who act like the ego, like it's some demonic, part shadow of yourself. And if we have an ego, why do you have to kill the shadow? It's like we have an ego for a reason. It's all of us. And so it's really kind of saying looking at your shadow and saying, what's unresolved with my shadow self? How does it need to grow? How does it need to be nurtured? And we look at it that way. We'll stop disassociating ourselves from that part of ourselves, and we'll include it in our evolution. So the main key for me is embracing it. And same thing we hear all the time about the inner child when it comes to therapy, psychotherapy, hypnotherapy, talking about the inner child. And so we want to heal the inner child. So your shadow version, that shadow self or dark side of yourself, could be just your young child that has not been healed. And so if we look at it that way, we'll be less and severing of the ties and more inclusive on including it in our part of healing and evolution. So that's how I go about doing it. And then the process of healing, of course, varies depending on the circumstances.
Okay.
Cat. Was that a cat?
Was that a mic drop or was that just like silence?
I think
what was
might
that?
have been my cat. He's okay.
That was perfectly timed.
I don't know how that showed up on the mic, but okay. Sorry. He's not in the room, but.
Devon, how do you go about, fixing your shadow? Or wait, actually go into another comment.
Isaac Mendrano writes, I had a dream or I went into an astral plane. What about the powerful dreams coming through now?
Am I answering these questions or are we all answering?
We all are. I mean, we could turn this into the Scott Cruz show, but
yeah, we could. It basically is.
I thought
that was me being passive, spiritual aggressive. No, I'm kidding. Totally.
That's what we're leaving behind with Unite the Light.
Right.
Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah. I actually think Neptune's at 29 degrees Pisces. I think we're in a dream weaver kind of energy. I'm already feeling it. I don't think it's going away.
No, me neither.
I don't think this high is going away. I haven't left Austin yet.
But you might
still on the high of the fun. And
you're still there.
Yeah.
I haven't gone back to the reality that I call misery.
No.
Don't say that.
Wow. Talk about the dark side and call me psychic.
I worked through my shadow. We can talk all night, boy.
Yes, honey.
About those shadows. I have names for them. They have places in bed with me. Yeah.
Living rent
but
free.
I do believe in it. I think Counter Return actually is the ultimate shadow reveal, by the way.
Interesting. Well, did we answer his question though about the dreams?
So I do feel that, I mean, my point with Neptune is just this in the dream thing is I do think we're getting, a lot of people are telling me about crazy dreams, but when I read their energy in person, I can tell that their waking self couldn't handle it. And so they were seeing it in the dream world. So a lot of times when spirit's got some news that you just can't handle, it starts like sort of getting you ready in your dreams for something you have to face in your waking.
I want to read him specifically, like him, like the question, the commenter, Isaac Mandrano is exactly specific for him. I feel like right now he's going through so much of an evolution of his spiritual gifts. I think that's what these dreams, these powerful dreams, are trying to show him, the different layers of such. So I think, Isaac, if you focus on, the different layers of your communication, they're saying when it comes to your spiritual abilities, then you'll understand you wouldn't have to reside it in the dream space. You'll be able to bring it down into the physical space. So Spirit's just kind of saying, look at the symbology of the dreams. It's actually an evolution of spiritual communication is actually the symbology of your dreams that you're having right now. I had to get that out. Sorry.
Brilliant.
No, I think that's personal. I think that'll help a lot of people. I think that'll help a lot of people because they tend to again blame their partner or blame their job when really it's something within that they're awakening to. Yeah.
Well, we've been saying we want to have a show about dreams, and I did a show on my show about dreams too, and it's different. There's so many different modalities of the dreams and reasons why, and at different levels of such. So that's why I specifically wanted to like read him specifically, see what was trying to communicate to him. Yeah, it's gonna be so different.
Yeah, Roger. Real quick, also, the thing about dreams right now is this, and also going to Isaac, I pulled this for Isaac, but I think it applies to everyone. Queen of Wands is about doing something that maybe, you have a little resistance to. She has this black cat, and we just had the cat in the show.
Yes.
We have a new co-star on the show that is a cat.
Yes.
But, during the times of tarot, black cats were considered unlucky. But the whole point is she doesn't care. She just wants the cat. And so it's like, what is it, what in your dreams are you maybe resisting in the real world? And, how can you move towards it?
I love it. So insane.
Interesting. Someone was asking me here in the comments, and part of me being spaced out is I'm learning how to read comments and be on the show at the same time.
I know. So like, Chris, are you up here? Eyes up here.
Hello. Yes, we're running some low frequencies.
Very forward right now, but up here.
Someone's asking if the full moon this week's about the inner child, and I would say in some regards it is, and because those early degrees of Sagittarius are what you believe growing up. And honestly, I don't think people's beliefs really change about themselves. I think if a child believes they're a superhero at age 6, they believe it at age 36, right? Like, so this full moon is sort of saying, hey, have you stepped away from that dream? I keep getting a very magical full moon. I feel like, the energy of the Unite the Light, which I think was the sun on Jupiter, but also the event, I think it carries into this new dream, this new sort of butterfly with glitter and neon glowing kind of, electric, exciting kind of dreams comes back alive. I really think this is sort of a very magical full moon, and it's calling for magic. So if you are just feeling totally miserable in this particular full moon, that's how far away you are from that sort of unicorn, really magical energy. And enjoy it while you can, because I think September, we do get a hit of something. And it might be unicorn shit.
Christopher, I love that you said the magical thing, because the image I was getting.
Go ahead, Devon. I'm sorry. I was just doing unicorn shit jokes.
I know. It's funny how it like progresses into bathroom humor or whatever towards the end. We're just like, and we're wiped out now.
It's hard being the only girl. Sorry. You did a great job. We'll steer the show.
I'm a halvesy,
right? Am I halvesy?
Yes.
Well, so the last day of school for my kids where they get released into summer is the full moon, which I think is funny. It's like the full moon release. And I have that image at the end of the movie Grease, which we talked about last week. They all run out of the school and throw all their supplies, go to the fair, and then Sandy and Danny fly magically into the sky. But then you don't know really what happens to the car once it gets up into the sky. So we'll find out in September, I think. But I mean, the magic is funny. There. I feel that release of like getting out of school for the summer for sure.
Bye, Chris. He just decided to dip out.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
All right.
Drifted off into nowhere.
Wow. We know what happens to Chris's car.
Cats meowing.
Drifted off into space.
Yep, cat tripped over something. I love how you just see his name come up when he talks. Well, we have to wrap up the show, y'all. I am just a little slap drunk. Here we go.
On screen before we wrap up.
To prepare for September, you all, we'll be bringing back this topic. Really, we will be your fix. We'll help you through it. We will laugh together as the earth is burning in flames.
Wait, we have to.
But we will help you. What's that?
How do we prepare for September? It's just kind of, I think we've mentioned that, right? I think that was a question.
No, I think we have to fly as high as we possibly can. I mean, I honestly feel like you want to get as much conscious, happy real estate as you can, built into your life. You want to build as much of the happy life as you can, because when those first winds of opposition come, it's really going to kind of test whether or not what you built is solid. It's also the old resisting the new coming in. So it's sort of like bat down the hatches. What is funny now?
It's just Chris is gone. I just can't. It's just gone.
Oh, man.
And you say out with the old, and he's gone. It's just
there's something in the fourth corner. Okay.
Yeah.
So this brings us to our psychic roulette.
Okay.
Here we go. Everyone, we'll do it real quick.
Yeah. Let's do it.
We're going to talk about dreams in a future episode, FYI, but which will come first? Oh, God, and he's left. Now I see the whole plan. Will it be the work robot, or will it be the girlfriend robot? What do you psychically feel?
I don't know what happened, but
yeah, we're like non-green. We're like suddenly in the woods somewhere.
I had to switch cameras. For some reason, this camera went out. So
that's a new camera too.
Yeah,
we're revealing our truth here. I
don't think it was the camera. I think it was my setup.
Gotcha.
Okay.
I have to look down here. Sorry.
Which psychically, and you can play it along at home first too. This is a serious question we were talking about with our psychic powers at Unite the Light about what Tesla was really building. Are they building, or is it coming out first? Will we have the work robot come or the girlfriend robot come first? What do you psychically feel? This is important.
As much as I'd love to be humorous on this one, I do think that the work robot. Well, actually, no. I think the girlfriend. I think they're going to come around the same time. Actually, yeah,
it's the same robot.
But I have to say this. They do have an app now. I saw it advertised on Instagram where you can actually, it's a lover. You can actually go on. It's like a girl talk to you like you're hot and to talk like a girlfriend now. Like they actually already have that. It's an app, but they're kind of prepping for that already.
And we also have Roombas that clean our floors.
Yeah, we already have
horribly.
Yeah.
Here comes the sex spa. Yeah. Could be. All right.
They prepared us with Stepford Wives years ago.
This is actually a serious question that affects people investing, because some people believe that that if it was sex or it was girlfriend, it's going to explode the robot industry. Just like internet sort of was built that same way. I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry.
Am I going?
Devon. No, I think I interrupted Devon somehow.
Oh.
Well, I just said that they were preparing us with the Stepford Wives movies. There's been 2 of them. And it's like, this has been coming a long time. Like we were talking about
Small Wonder. Remember that movie? Small Wonder. A little girl that was a robot. Do you remember that?
That was a weird show.
You remember that?
Imagine that.
Right?
But this is what I feel like. It's like we're being like kind of conditioned to be okay with these things, even though instinctively we're not okay with these things, which I think we'll talk about with AI when we get to that topic next week again. But like we said about the 3D printing of food last week when we talked about it, they've been doing that since the 50s. They just called it something else, So that's my opinion. I agree that I feel like it's happening simultaneously.
Thank you.
If you think that if you're trying to bet on what it's going to be for the market, I think that's going to just depend on who's willing to invest in it the most, who has the biggest amount of money to push money behind it. What about you, Chris Reck?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to parrot what you guys said, because I pulled these 2 cards for each side. And to me, it's just saying that both things have already kind of happened. We have the AI girlfriends, and we also already have Roombas and stuff like that. So I kind of feel like they've come at the same time,
Right.
So that's what I feel there.
Interesting. Psychically, I would say that's probably the same. I mean, I would imagine that you'll have a robot that does the dishes, and then you can just like download a pack. There's an app for that.
There's an app for that. Yeah.
There's an app for that. Like I have a feeling like that robot will run a whole bunch of apps, and but it's interesting though, because it's kind of where we're going. in the future. Well, thank you all for that psychic roulette, and for everyone watching at home. We really appreciate it. We will not be here live next week just because it's a holiday. We've worked so hard this year, and we need a moment to sort of just relax and come up with new material. So we'll be back actually in 2 weeks, but we're probably going to release an interview that we did with Dana, who we had a couple weeks ago or last week on the show, that we thought you might find interesting if you'd like to soak up and hang out with us. It was a good interview.
Yeah, lots of stuff we didn't cover in the couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We went deep in different directions, and this is part of us in the beginning.
Feng Shui.
Yes, she was our Feng Shui artist, if you don't recall.
Really good.
And we go deep into Feng Shui. We all have like a roundtable deep discussion with her. And this is when we were figuring out what the show should be like. So this is a deeper version. And we realized we'll just put out different versions at different times. So enjoy. Thank everyone for showing up. We'd like to thank everyone for watching. If you'd like to advertise on our show, we will love to do a psychic roundtable on it. Just email us at advertise@leadingoutloud.com. And remember, folks, don't put up with a shift show. Lead out loud. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Or in 2 weeks.